DeSantis saved democracy. On the 8th day, God created a fighter, and that fighter unwittingly saved democracy. So we all owe Ron DeRacis a debt of gratitude. All of the riffraff from Pennsylvania and the rest of the Midwest came to Florida to experience freedom and enabled us to win races that we might not have. My concern, and I don't know what we do about it, we should be talking about it tonight, what we do about Florida, what's the matter with Florida, but is in the rest of the country, my pet peeve is the so-called liberal media, that has been attacking Biden for the last year, has been hyperventilating about inflation for a year, that hasn't been saying very much about the fact that inflation is lower here than in many European countries, and that it's only a small part of it is due to what Biden and the Democrats have done. The so-called liberal media is so terrified of being called unbalanced and unfair that they bend over in the other direction. And now I think they're going to be taking a victory lap because they sounded the alarm about democracy. The Times had an article, a poll about a month ago, saying that people were really worried about the threat to democracy, but it was down on their list. What they were most worried about was the economy. And it turned out that more people were worried about the threat to democracy than the pollsters or the New York Times thought. Okay? But now, it's not over. I mean, we won 3 important elections in a row, the midterms 2020 and another midterms, and they get mulligans. We don't. I mean, if we lose, that's it. I mean, if Trump wins in 2024 and he installs his loyal men in the DOJ and in the rest of the so-called deep state, most of which is peopled by technocrats who are not taking sides. This is, you can ask.
Can I ask a question when you're done? Or I have a question.
Fine. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm
nearly done, and
okay.
we're here to. You're not here to hear from me. You're here to hear from Joe Cassello.
Michael, I was just wondering what part of the victory was fight for democracy, and what part was the abortion problem, in your opinion?
Well, obviously the abortion was a huge
was a big issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have an article this month that my cousin over there wrote, proposing that we try to get on the ballot for 2024 a constitutional amendment in Florida to make abortion a protected right.
You should work with Rabbi Silver on that. He's probably really big into that.
Okay, well, let's move on to why we're here. Actually, you can speak from there, and then you'll have to turn around.
It costs more money to turn around.
Yeah, okay, go here he comes. Joe is new to us, but that's only because the Republicans switched things around to try to get more seats. And I don't know if they did get more seats in the legislature. In Palm Beach County, doesn't tell us that. But Joe's been in the state legislature since 2018. And before that, as I said in the flyer, was a firefighter, a union guy, salt of the earth, the kind of politicians Democrats need. I mean, we lose elections because we get. I mean, sorry to keep going on, but the notion that Democrats are elitists. You know, when the Republicans go out and they buy a flannel shirt and rent a truck for the elections, and then, you know, they vote to cut taxes for billionaires. But anyway, Joe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Some of you might not know me. I'm Joe Cassello, and I'm new to this area here. A little something about me first. I originally from Massachusetts, and you'll probably pick that up as I keep speaking here. But I came down here, I was a firefighter for 30+ years up there in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I was always involved in the political scene up here, a lot like yourselves here, working behind the scenes, getting petitions, canvassing for certain candidates that I believed in. 09, after I had retired, it was one of those snowy March days. I said, okay, time out, let's go where I know I can play golf, you know, every other day. Anyway, I came to Boynton in 09, and in 09, moving to Boynton Beach, the local government was a mess. I mean, the mayor had got indicted by the feds, there was 5 police officers that got arrested, and a certain city commissioner was in a sex scandal with her cousin on the internet. It was a real cesspool of issues. So I decided to run. At that time I was married, my wife says, don't do it. Please don't do it. You know, I did it. Well, not knowing anyone down here, I didn't have a platform, I wasn't well known, but the seat had opened up because that commissioner had resigned. And so I said, okay, who do I know? Joe, you were a firefighter for 30 years. I went around knocking on firehouse doors. Joe Cassello, you know, I'm thinking about running, and they said, look, you seem like a nice guy, you're a brother firefighter, but no one knows you. You know, no one knows you down here. And it was like 3 other candidates running for this open position who were born and raised here, you know, natural Floridians, if you will. Long story short, I said, look, if you believe in me, there's no one that's going to be working harder than me. Long story short, I won my first election as an unknown by 3 votes. You Miami Dolphin fans, that's a field goal. Okay? And so when people say every vote counts, it does.
Yeah.
It does. And I'm a prime example of that. You know, 3 votes. Okay? And I had a nice little stint over in the City Commission in Boynton Beach. We did some great things over there as far as getting projects up out of the ground, policies. And then Laurie Berman, who was the state rep in District 90, she had an opportunity to move on to the Senate. That seat opened up in 2018. I was successful for running for it, and I was fortunate and humbled enough and privileged enough to win every election up into this last one. So here I am in front of you here, folks, and I tell you, it's a privilege to serve. It really is. I get some of my greatest satisfaction is doing constituent work. And as you can imagine, the last 2 years with the pandemic, the COVID issues that we had, the unemployment, people getting, you know, locked out of their homes and closed in businesses and everything like that. Our office, hundreds of calls, and I was so happy that we were able to help so many of those people get some of their issues resolved or put them in the right direction to get them resolved. So, you know, Tallahassee's great. It sounds great, state rep in Tallahassee, but my great comfort is helping people, just like I did in the fire department. Coming in, constituent service is my strong point. So let's go to Tallahassee. Well, obviously everyone knows what happened this last election. I don't have to tell you folks, the Democratic Party has heard it. This state here, and it's turning red quicker than you know, okay? Example, Ron DeSantis wins Palm Beach County by 3 percentage points. Palm Beach County, Val Demings just squeaks by a point and a half. Senator Polsky, Senator Berman lose Palm Beach County in the vote total, but end up making it up in the Broward, heavily blue Broward. Okay, I was fortunate. In my district, okay, people know me obviously, name recognition too. I took 55% of the vote, a little over 55, which is good. But I'm going back. I got to go to Tallahassee now, and I just want to say it's nice to be in a room There's more Democrats in this room now than there will be when I get to Tallahassee. Okay? There will be. Because let me tell you what the numbers are, folks. There's only 35 Democrats left in the House of Representatives
Out of how many?
out of 120.
Ouch.
Okay? There's only 12 senators left, Democratic senators left in the Senate, across the hall, out of 40. So you say, geez, you're in a minority. We've always been in the minority, okay? For the last 20 years, we've been in the minority. But what has happened, folks, we are now a super minority, okay? They're a super majority, I should say. Super majority. So what does that say? What is a super majority? They can shut down all debate. They don't have to follow the rules. They can bring anything to the House floor on vote with no discussion whatsoever. Okay? This is what's gonna happen up here. And I don't have a crystal ball. Some of those people up there are good, decent people, and new House Speaker, Paul Renner, nice guy and all. Let me tell you how Tallahassee works, first and foremost. It's whatever the leadership does. Whatever comes out of DeSantis' office, comes down to his floor generals, that's the agenda for the day or of what's gonna be during the session. Okay. I don't know what he's got coming down. Last year, we had the school issues with the parental rights and don't say gay and those red meat issues, and right, you know, which had nothing to do.
$12 million and brought those people from.
And, you know, then he calls a special session for insurance.
For insurance.
For home insurance.
Yeah.
We spent 2-3 days up there. The only thing that came out of that was that we gave the insurance companies $2 billion of taxpayer money for the reinsurance fund for them. So we really didn't get nothing done on the insurance issue. There's talk about we are going to be going up there for another special session to address that one more time, because something needs to be done. That something needs to be done. And the insurance thing is that I don't know why we're not getting our senators like Scott and Rubio into here where we can go on the federal level like they do the it's been talked about and like they do have for the flood insurance, catastrophic flood insurance, okay, which is a big pool, everybody's in there. We're gonna have to go into some kind of program, something similar to that to help us out here in the insurance business. Put that aside. I'm afraid, not afraid, I love a good fight, but it's difficult. It's like I call it like a political Alamo, you know, there's like 35 of us and there's 85 of them. And we sit way in the back, obstructing view. But I don't know how it's gonna go. I'm really concerned. You know, what's the governor's agenda? Okay, that we talked about abortion, Democrats, okay, that was a big issue for us this time around, and it very well should be. DeSantis got his way with the 15-week, no exceptions, even in incest and rape. I mean, folks.
Over free state, have 2 daughters.
I'm
Do you think though that because 900 people a day are moving to Florida, that that's what's changing the
Dynamics, the dynamics of it?
another state?
You know what's hurting? People are coming down here from other states, obviously,
Right.
1,000 people a day, they so say, and everything like that. But they're getting to be non-party affiliates, independents.
Yes.
And they're going further and further right with the Republicans, okay? Folks, we gotta get a message. We gotta get a message that we all can get behind. What was our message this last election? What was it? Abortion was fine, you know, but what else? What was the kitchen table issues that we could have got votes on, you know, to have people, these independent voters come to our side?
Well,
Did anybody hear
Scott wants to
anything?
take away the Social Security and modify Medicare.
Well, that's on the federal level.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep it on the state
Rubio
level.
never shows up for anything and votes no
When
on anything.
when I was doing the phone bank,
Mhm.
campaigning for Val Bennings, and then
Right.
when I might have been Park Club, it was all Democrats getting them out to vote. I didn't feel like I was trying to reach any of the independents. When I went door to door in this neighborhood, I didn't go to any independents. Oh, great, you're a Democrat, you're a strong Democrat. Did you vote? Oh, do you know you can vote today, last day of early voting? But we weren't given a task of trying to get the independents. and sway them. And the other, I'm a retired educator back in the school system in Boynton Beach. And I am terrified about what's happening to education, the lack of, the distrust in teachers. I don't know any teachers who would do the things in early childhood that DeSantis accuses. So far, I found out today they're not throwing out the math books, which is good. And there's teachers who don't want to teach because they feel that the school's going to be taken over. Well, that's another issue. But, and some of the rates have gone up. Some of the pay has gone up.
No, there's no maximum anymore.
Well, whatever, that's not my point about the pay, it sucks, excuse me. But, the point is that our children are at risk because I feel that the teachers are going to lose their clout and their dignity. When I started teaching in 1969, is those who can't do and those who can't teach. And, we've come a long way, not in salary, but I feel that teachers are gonna become so downtrodden by the DeSantis, the way the changes are being made, that we're gonna lose our autonomy, and I don't understand how it gets through the Department of Education in Tallahassee.
This message is, you will, okay?
I hope so.
2018, I was up there from 2018 to now, I see the decline, the attack on public education, okay? I would say in another 5 years, there won't be no more public education, it's all gonna be a voucher program,
And
That's right.
okay?
And-
It's all voucher program. My good friend,
Yeah, go ahead.
is the president of the CPA for Palm Beach County, Justin Katz, you might have heard of him, okay? Justin and I, we do a lot of work together. And what they're gonna do is, it's gonna make it harder to collect union dues, almost impossible to collect union dues. They wanna break the teachers' union.
It's really not a union. I belong. It's a classroom teachers association. If they can't strike like in New York, they don't have a Randy Weingarten, and they can't demand better pay. I've been a union representative in Orlando. It's not a union. It's a teachers association.
Call it what you will,
But it's-
they wanna dismantle that. Okay? And what they're gonna do, but all these guides they put on the teachers association union, I call it a union, but whatever you wanna call it, okay? They exempt public safety, they exempt the police, they exempt the fire, they carve out, okay? Now that's, the police and fire, and I try to tell them, and I think they get it, okay? It's, divide and conquer, all right? This session or next session, it's the teachers. Is it the police the next session after that, to break that down, union busting? Then is it the fire department? This is where this is going. I mean, the union used to be so strong and democratic, I'm sad to say, they endorsed me and helped me financially, but the county firefighters, the majority of them are voting Republican. Okay? They've given hundreds of thousands of dollars to DeSantis for his campaign and other Republican candidates. I see it, I'm up there. And how does this happen? How do we get to this point where the stronghold, the heart of the Democratic Party is the working men and women of unions? Okay? And it's quickly getting eroded. Folks, we got 2 years to lick our wounds, get a message out there, and go, excuse the language, balls to the wall, all right? But this is what we need to do, all right? 35 Democrats in the House of Representatives. It hasn't been like this since 1800s. The House of Representatives have never been better than it is right now, along with the Democratic side, the Senator side. But this is unacceptable, folks. That's not democracy. That's dictatorship. That's dictatorship. We can't even, when the abortion thing came up, we were debating it, we could debate it and everything like that. We put 35 amendments on it. 35 amendments on it to try to soften it a little bit and everything. Every single amendment got turned down. Okay? But we were able to have a debate and discussion. And then they have a procedure up there. They say, show of hands, and we can put up 5 Democratic hands. We can bring it to a board for a vote to get them on record, how they voted on it. We were able to do that last session. Same thing with some of these school issues that came up. guess what, folks? This session, there is none of that anymore.
I don't wanna see guns, I don't wanna see teachers carrying guns in schools. And I feel hurt. But, well,
Steve, if you'd like to comment?
You said, and very correctly so, that abortion should have been the issue this year. Something like 70% of America wants abortion to be legal. 57% of the women in Florida voted for DeSantis. 57% of the women voted for DeSantis. The problem is not issues. The problem is the FDP not convincing people how important the issues are to them. The problem is the FDP not exciting the voters, not getting them to care, not getting them to give a shit. That's the problem.
And not respond.
We have plenty of voters in Florida. We have more Democratic percentage Democratic voters in Florida than we have in Massachusetts. And Florida has, and Massachusetts has 100% Democratic congressional delegation, 100% state offices, and 84% Democrats.
Let me ask you this,
in
why, with that being said, why did 100,000 Democrats not even vote?
Because they weren't convinced to.
Yeah, but now
They weren't made to give a damn.
No.
I'm not talking about
Okay,
convincing
so that,
people.
all right, so,
If everybody, do me a favor, everybody. This is something I did in Massachusetts when I gave courses in political communications. Hold out the hand that you used to write your ballots with. Just hold out that hand. Would you do me that favor?
Yeah.
Okay, now trace a line between that hand and your body. Do you come to your heart first or your head? It's your heart that makes the decisions. It's your emotions that make the decisions to vote. It's Ronald Reagan saying, "It's morning again in America," that got him reelected. It was Barack Obama saying, "Yes, we can," that got him elected. That's what we've got to do here in Florida, and the Florida Democratic Party.
which goes
You
back.
see, it was Donald Trump
No, no.
saying,
Donald Trump
Now,
is
let me
doing
finish.
exactly what I say the Democratic
let
Party
me
should.
finish.
Okay, go
It
ahead.
was Donald Trump saying it's the Mexican rapists and gangs, okay? And it is in Florida, Marco Rubio saying that they're so, you know what? Marco Rubio's mama was a fucking socialist because she was on Social Security and she was on Medicare, you know? And the Democrats don't come back and say, you know, your mama was a socialist. What is a socialist? Are you saying? Do you think Bernie Sanders wants to take away all private property and have all the distribution and ownership? No, of course not. So what is socialism? Socialism is today we understand socialism as what the Scandinavians do, what the Europeans do, but nobody takes the time to push back against you have Dade County, Miami-Dade, becoming Republican now, and it's because of the Latinos.
Let me tell you how Donald Trump's marketing works. Advertising aid, their front page story on his marketing techniques. That's how good a marketing he is. Okay, let me tell you how it works. I said emotion drives votes. Donald Trump got out there and said, "You got no education. You got no computer skills. You got no marketable qualities. But it's the damn Mexican who took your job. It's that damn black guy who took your job." Okay, that's emotions, not facts. That's emotion, and that's what drove
Listen, I get that, and I think get out of the state, we've been on the federal level and everything like that, and I get what you're saying and everything like that. Let's bring it back to the state level.
That is on the state level.
All right, because we took a beating, like you mentioned, Miami-Dade, not being Democrat anymore. These are unbelievable things. You know, Robert Weinroth, you might have heard of him. He's the mayor of the county.
Yeah.
Democrat. He lost to somebody who's never even run before. How does that happen, folks? Andy Thompson, for some unknown from a woman who never ran before. These are the kind of races we were losing.
How did Broward do better? Because Broward did slightly
The
better.
Democrats,
Why?
the Democrats came up.
Yeah.
You know, the people who were affected by Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, that's Broward County, Parkland, and I can't believe the stupidity of people who are listening to the Rubio Demings debate on TV.
I was there.
And Mark, you were there, I would have paid it almost, I wanted to be there. And Marco Rubio said that we don't have to worry about the majority of people who are carrying around semi-automatic rifles. We don't have to worry about the majority. And they said, duh, what about the minority? And I wrote about it and I got whatever newspaper. But people don't, they just hear, but they don't listen, they don't understand. A stupid statement like that. Who would want to elect somebody who says we don't have to worry about the majority? I only have to worry about my crazy neighbor down the block in the minority who's gonna come and, you know,
Not
just
just
gonna
the
get
young
low.
people, but
What
the
probably-
But they did vote,
Well,
and in Florida, they did vote Florida, as you're saying, is turning red. So the issue is not, I mean, why are they so stupid to have done this? It was done. Why did not enough Democrats turn out? What, now, in watching it, I kept saying to myself, Charlie Crist doesn't have an ad up here. I'm not sure though, the amount of advertising was the answer, because Val Demings seemed to have had a lot of money and seemed to be
But her advertising wasn't very good, and they kept on telling that part.
Well, okay, get back to what you just said, okay? You put all the ads you want, okay? I'm convinced that money doesn't win the election.
Yeah, I'm not sure
It's the
either.
messaging, folks. And going back to what I originally said earlier,
Yeah.
what was our uniform message? All Democrats, the Greater Boyden Democratic Club, the Delray Democratic Club, the Boca, you know, were we all together and have talked to these other clubs and said, look let's formulate a plan, let's get a message, let's get 3 pocketbook issues that will register, okay? That voters can hook onto and believe in. What was our message? Abortion was great, okay? I understand that, all right? But that didn't do much for us. Like you said, 50% of the women didn't vote or voted
I
DeSantis.
think we were tricked. I thought, in the summer, the women thought that abortion's gonna get the Democratic Party going, and then it reversed in importance with all the polls, everything.
What I
was
haven't
going up.
seen so far is the numbers. I don't know, we're wearing shirts that say, we vote, we win. The corollary, the opposite, however, is that if you don't vote, you don't win.
Right.
And I haven't seen whether what the numbers are in terms of how many Democrats could have voted, didn't. You said 100,000
It's-
before.
it's-
I don't know.
It's woeful. It's woeful.
But the
Yeah.
question is, what was our turnout so awful, and why? And you're hitting the button. The messaging.
50%.
And Steve, is the
Yeah,
messaging.
in the Haitian district that Char and I, and you to some extent also, are precinct leaders in, I had a guy run up to me and say, you know, I am just sick of the Democrats. You know, they don't do anything for Haiti. You know, and now this is on the federal level, but it bleeds down. And I said to him, well, you know, I understand what you're saying. You know, he said, I registered Democrat, I vote Democrat every election. He said, I'm thinking about becoming an NPA, you know, and I don't think I'm going to vote this time. I said, well, you know, you can do what you want, but you know, you ask what they've done. Well, the Democrats put through on a federal level the child tax credit that gave $300 for every household that had a child. It wasn't aimed just at Haitians, it was aimed at people that had children, and it helped poor people, and it cut childhood poverty by 40% last year, you know, and a lot of those poor kids were Haitian.
Let me interject something here, okay? The state has right now $22 billion surplus. $22 billion.
Yeah.
DeSantis walks that around. Guess where half that money came from? Biden bucks.
Yeah.
He's been giving first responders $1,000
Yeah.
bonuses and stuff like that. Guess where that money came from? Biden bucks.
Yeah.
Where was the Democrats making that known? Where was the Democrat message saying, look, you got $22 billion in there because of Washington, because of the Democrats send it to you.
Yeah.
And you're using it for your own discretion, for your own campaign. Well, this is what some of the problem is. Listen, I don't have all the answers. I'm only an observer, okay? There's smarter people than myself who just, they can get us in a different direction. But just that's some of the things that we face up there, that we don't bring it out, Whitey's first response, like I just mentioned earlier, firefighters voting for DeSantis.
Why?
Because he gave them $1,000. Some of them, because they got that bonus, a couple of bonuses of $1,000. Then, why don't they say, why you got that bonus? It's because of Biden, because of the Democrats.
Well, the other
Right,
thing,
sir.
I think a lot of it is the messaging, as you say, a lot of the messaging is from the Democrats and even from the Biden administration. It's not hitting people in the heart, like some people mentioned. You have to get to appeal to the emotions of people, that they can feel safe, they can prosper, their future, their rights are safe. And particularly, I'd like to know, I have to tell you, my own son did not vote. My son is 29, and he lives in New York, but I just came to Florida. I said, what is it that would make you vote? Because he tells me that he didn't vote. But he said, when he hears politicians speak, he just turns off, because it's like politicians, they're just pontificating. And so,
We do a lot of that.
someone like Obama, like, he gets right to your heart. And that's the messaging that has to come out, so that people are convinced.
Like brought out, you vote for your heart, that's for your vote.
Well, it's also.
Look what DeSantis did during COVID.
Right.
He took away the masks, he opened up most of the beach, and opened up so most of the businesses down here could succeed.
And he
That
killed
went a
10,000.
long way in people's minds.
Who led the country in COVID?
Well, they didn't report that. They never reported the amount of deaths down there.
They raided her house and they took her.
I know it, I remember that. They never made anything out of it. I mean, that was like a 2-day event.
The Palm Beach Post ran stories. It was a great series, and I was copying them in the Delray Democrat, on the 10,000 people that died in the month of September of 2021. We were, at that point, we were the coronavirus capital of the world, okay? And they kept hitting them on it, but you know what? People forgot. But the thing, the bigger, when you were just saying about your son not voting, okay? One of the greatest things that Republicans have managed to do is convince people that government is bad. That's Ronald Reagan. Before Reagan, government was good. Government saved people during the Depression. Government created a middle class that was the envy of the world in the 50s and 60s. And then Ronald Reagan came along and said, the problem is government is not the solution, it's the problem. And people started, and you can say things about politicians, okay? But when Democrats are in power, they pass programs that help people. When Republicans are in power, they either do nothing, the only thing they do is give tax cuts to the wealthiest people. And then they get people to believe that, as someone said, their problem is not the fact that the Republicans are giving money away to billionaires. Their problem is that some poor black or Mexican is getting money from the government, or is taking their job away, which they don't even want.
And what do they label us? Socialism.
That's right. Yeah.
We're helping people, they label us socialists.
Yeah.
So how come we're not turning that around? How do we turn that around? We're not socialists.
How do you?
The party is.
So Joe, I wanna take us all the way back to your introduction. And where I wanna go with that was when you talked about how important constituent service is to you, how personal that is to you, how you made that your prime objective after you won that election by 3 votes. And that as a result of that, you developed a reputation. People knew you, people trusted you, people liked you. And that ultimately led to your first election to HB90. You got 55% of the vote this time. Why? People know you, people trust you. The Republicans can throw any kind of nonsense your way they want to. Problem is, people know you, so they know not to believe that nonsense.
And you organized really well in Boynton Beach. You did things for your constituents that made them, make you even better like.
So where am I going? Where I'm going with this is that we spend a lot of time analyzing what happens during 10 out of 104 weeks of every biennium that is, a campaign period or a government period here in Florida. What are we doing those other 94 weeks? What are we doing in the communities to establish ourselves as neighbors, as friends, as someone to be trusted, to have people know us, so that when we're called socialists, somebody's, what the hell are you talking about? I know, Bob. What are you out of your mind? That's the kind of relationship that we need to be able to establish with the voters at their kitchen table, in their schools, in their churches, in their temples.
But not 2 weeks before an election.
No,
That's
absolutely right.
That's my point, Joe.
Of course.
What do you do?
Those other 94 weeks, we have to be engaged,
How?
Which is now.
which is right now.
Right now.
That is right.
So enough talk, what's the plan?
So what do you do?
Good question.
That's.
And I don't mean to be
No,
rude at all.
no, that's not, that's a great, no,
You know, when you look for those
obviously we know the issues, right? We obviously know where we went off the tracks, right? How do we get back on the track? How do we do some of the things that
Maybe
we
we
just
go find
mentioned?
some of those Parkland kids
You know,
and bring them
I'll
out.
put together a plan, somebody will read it.
Okay, you said Parkland?
Yeah.
Those kids went up to Tallahassee after that tragedy. They would, half the legislators of it wouldn't even talk to them.
Really?
Wouldn't even talk to them.
No kidding.
Look how Hogg was humiliated by that senator up in the Capitol.
Yeah.
So it was so,
And she used to follow.
she was following him
Oh,
and harassing him. But I think we have a cultural issue, and this is what bothers me. And it seems like we've had a big drift away from humanity, and I think Democrats pay more attention to humanity. And since Trump came in, it's all about me and I. We've
Yeah,
become a
screw
very
you.
egocentric group of people. And I think that has something to do with people going to the Democratic Party and being brainwashed by Trump. I know people who all they care about is their bank account, and they're millionaires. And they don't care about other people. They don't care about the immigrants who went from Texas to Martha's Vineyard. That was absolutely disgraceful. It's treating them like dirt.
But that's what our party was all
And they
about,
still
was
do.
helping people, helping the people. You know, my grandparents were immigrants, okay? You know, well, let me ask you this, because it baffles me, because I don't know how many went through public education. Most of us went through public, we never had issues going through public education all those years. All of a sudden, it's an issue that, and this state's been run, and the funny part about this, all right, attacking our schools, this state's been run the last 20 years by Republicans. All of a sudden, DeSantis comes on board, it's a problem.
I don't understand how it's being permitted to
But I give
dissect
a
our
different
school
version.
system.
To me, that's not why we lost the election. I think we lost the election, and I have a suggestion for it, because you had, which has been said, I think by others, the quality of the candidates. Nobody knew them, and nobody cared about them, and I think we have to start picking, certainly statewide, people now who we want to run, and we have to start making sure that their name gets out, and they have to do something for the people that you want to vote for.
That's a great, let me ask you this question, just to play devil's advocate, okay? Let's say DeSantis decides to run for president. Who do we have in the pipeline to run for governor?
Nobody.
Okay?
That's not right.
This
That's
is,
right.
No.
okay?
You're gonna get a Val Deming, who nobody knows, or you're gonna get, retreaded Republicans to run?
Yeah.
You say that, I was with Charlie the other day, before the election, and he had his arm around me, so I poked, just for joke, you know, I says, Charlie has asked me to run as lieutenant governor. As a joke. And I got about 700 responses saying, congratulating me. But you're right.
I mean, we lost the election to a large extent on two issues. The first time I heard the slogan, defund the police, I started crying.
Right.
I'm like, we are gonna get killed on this. And that was on our side, defund the police. I mean, this is great. And the other thing that I got from the calls I made, and just talking to people and reading things online, is the student loan debt forgiveness.
Oh, yeah.
We pay our debts, why shouldn't they? And we got killed on it. Now, I know Biden made the promise to do it, and I understand the reasoning, but we got killed on it. It was poorly explained. I mean, to accuse Val Demings of defunding the police, and the limited amount of TV I saw, I saw 10 ads for them for everyone for us.
That's
And
right.
I did not see a whole lot of good ads for us.
No.
They're never attacking the other one, never, a woman's right to choose somewhere down the line.
But that's about,
Global,
that's about
global.
messaging,
Yeah.
There's not a Democrat in this room that wants to defund the police. Not one Democrat here in this room. So why can they get away saying the Democrats want to defund the police?
Because
How can they set
Democrats
that
said they
narrative?
would.
How do they set that narrative up that people buy into?
No one has any idea how the contribution Val Demings did to Orange County and in bringing down crime. And when I was there in 2004, it was the second highest crime rate, tied with Cincinnati. I left 10 years later. She did an amazing job with crime.
Oh, yeah,
But
she's
nobody
really good.
knows that, and they don't even remember her from the first impeachment.
Did you see the ads?
And they see her on TV, but they don't connect. Who is she? It's so heartbreaking.
She's a fabulous woman, but that's unfortunate. She put it in her head. Just saying it is,
I kept on telling them.
Marco Rubio didn't show up. Enough of it
No,
already.
no.
Those are changes
No, I
for
kept
us.
on telling my precinct
Wait,
leaders.
I didn't even like the
But
debate.
and a large part, I'd like to come back to the media. I'd like to come back to the media, because the media, the local press, Palm Beach Post and Sun Sentinel, are good papers. I mean, they're liberal papers. They don't run a lot of national stuff, but they do great on DeSantis, all of their nominations. You have the New York Times saying literally every single day, writing articles about inflation and writing human interest stories about inflation, okay? They've got these young reporters now, there's one on the inflation beat, who I write to regularly, they finally wrote a story talking about how inflation is being driven by the fact that people are willing to pay more. They're willing to pay more, and they have the chief marketing guy from Pepsi saying, yeah, well, what we want to do is, increase our profits while maintaining market share. I was in Publix, and I watched them at the beginning of the pandemic while I was waiting for a shot. And I watched somebody re-tag the candy from $3.25 to $3.75. Boom. This is stuff that they had already priced in at $3.25. Well, let's just take some more, okay? And then you've got the oil company gouging. But anyway, this reporter was deep in the story, was talking, and he had to read, halfway or more through the story, and you can write to the reporters at the Times. And I wrote to her and I said, so what you're really saying is it's all Joe Biden's fault. Right? I said, just kidding, only half kidding. What you should have been writing, you should have been writing this for the last year, and you haven't. I never got a response, but that is what led people to, it bleeds down. People believe, look at what the Democrats did to the economy. Why would I vote for a Democrat? 10.5 million jobs created, unemployment rate down to what it was under Richard Nixon, and Inflation, which is a worldwide problem. That's all the Democrats, if the media
Okay, let me
explained that.
let me be a devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Did you hear that in any Democratic messaging?
No, I know. That
So it goes back to what we said earlier, it's about the message,
Him
okay?
skippers.
It's not the message.
Yes.
And it goes back to what you said, it's the messenger. If they're weak, Jellyfish had no business running. I know he's a nice guy, but you can't be a Republican, independent, and a Democrat and expect to win and win the hearts, you know? Especially a guy like,
Nikki Fried would have been
DeSantis.
better.
Huh?
I think Nikki Fried would have been better.
I don't think that, no. I don't think that, but getting back to what you said, who's in the pipeline? Who's in the queue to be strong? Who can get, because what we gotta do right now is start to get behind these individuals, okay? Okay? It's not a month before the election we get behind them, we make those, we gotta start now. And if we don't, it's gonna only get worse. There's only 35 of us left in Tallahassee, 35 Democrats left in Tallahassee.
We also had a lack of organization and
Okay.
campaigning, because I'm campaigning for Val Dennings, and now I'm in Val's precinct. They put me there, I called it Val. She was upset, I don't blame her. It happened a second time in downtown, down in South Swift, near Clinton and Linton. I said, oh, wait, one more time, Irene, go out the Saturday before, we promise you. They didn't have their act together, the precincts weren't.
Let me ask you this, let me just ask you this question. Does anybody know Joe Katz or Harry Roger?
Of course.
Yeah.
Not many of you do.
Yeah.
They were one of the strongest greatest Democratic clubs there is. I go to their meetings every week.
Who did you say, Joe Katz?
Joe Katz.
That's a fantastic club.
It's a fantastic club. Well, getting back to your point,
Where are they?
this hand's not going to this hand.
Yeah, but that's what's interesting is that my campaign partner, door to door,
They
came from
sue.
Boyd Beach
They don't mean
to
to.
our,
What
they
district?
weren't, she wasn't campaigning for her,
District.
she didn't go to her Boyd Beach
Greater
Democratic Party. She came here.
Boy, I don't think Boyd doesn't have a Democratic Party.
Oh, they don't?
Well, correct.
Joan is amazing. I mean, what she
It
put
would seem to me you
together.
have a lot of information, obviously, you've been in office a while and you know a lot of people, that you and a few other people like you could work with some of the people and make a plan. Because we can talk and we can say, oh, this sucks, that sucks, blah, blah. That doesn't do anything. We need,
You're absolutely right.
we need, and you know better because you're up there with, you know, what's gonna make a difference and then how can we fashion a message.
How about Terry Rizzo? Has she come to any of these meetings?
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah, you know, but has she come to your meetings and formulate some kind of look, she's the leader of the Democratic Party?
No.
I love Terry, she's a great person.
She used to have meetings up there at the Civic Center.
Right.
Oh, no, she knows music, but he's asked if she comes out.
She goes to the individual clubs.
Didn't she come to one of our Zooms?
She did, right after the election, right after she got her.
But we need to before the election.
Yeah, no, this was her election, after the last disaster, she was
But that's not
down,
enough.
she held her
You know, I
position,
remember I
and then she started
It's not
coming to a
enough.
lot of
One
different
person can't do it.
She doesn't.
It's gonna take all of us. to do this.
Yeah,
And it's gonna take a lot of these ideas that you talked about here, goes through a lot of the problems, you know the problem, problems.
Right, we.
Okay, we know that, now we gotta come up with solutions and how we get beyond that, you know? How we get stop being called socialists or defund the police or craziness as they call it and get away with it, okay?
While they're saying defund the FBI.
Right, and then how can you have $22 billion in our state coffers and reserves and we don't get any credit for it? And these people getting $1,000 bonuses.
Because nobody's pushing that message.
Right, exactly.
That information isn't.
That exactly. And if we get, there's only 35 of us left in Tallahassee, they muted us. We're muted.
But the
There
thing
has
is,
to be an uprising, folks. There has to be an
It has to
uprising.
be on a local level too.
I think
If there's only 35, what are these other in Broward and Miami and here in West
I'm from
Palm?
Massachusetts,
Where
and
are
Tip
the
O'Neill
other
once said, all
representatives?
politics are
People
local.
that
And
are
I
going to
believe,
Tallahassee.
I'm from Massachusetts.
Tip O'Neill
I'm from
said it.
Massachusetts too.
Good.
I'm born there.
A lot of good Massachusetts people here.
What I'm saying, local Democrats seem to be able to elect Democrats for Tallahassee. Why is that?
You know, and
Where's the
what's going on between 26 and May, this next year will look like, they'll get all of them.
Let's suck all the oxygen out of the room, that's,
Yeah,
that's, exactly.
In a corporation, the plan starts at the top. In a school, it starts with the principal or the super. I always thought that good management policies start at the top, I learn business, and filters on down. Why isn't the organization, isn't there anything at the top filtering down
Do
to?
you know who runs the state party now?
No,
You don't.
no,
Manny
You're a
Diaz.
good Democrat.
no.
You don't know who runs our state Democratic party?
Manny Diaz.
Manny Diaz.
No idea.
Oh, okay.
Manny can walk in this room now, you wouldn't even know who he was, right?
Right, well, that's the problem, that's it.
Yeah.
You gotta start to, you gotta think like a
Listen,
business.
I-
But no,
I was at-
the other side of that, Joe, somebody, a friend of mine said, and it's counterintuitive, he said, you know, that Republicans are a bottom-up party and Democrats are a top-down party. And what happens is the Republicans listen to what their base wants. They listen to their fears and their prejudices, and then they go after it. And that's how they get elected. And then what they do is they screw them, you know, because they know they can keep fooling them each election, and they get elected and they do what they want. Democrats say, we know this is how we're going to do it, and they don't listen at the local level, and the people, you know, people say, you know, you show up every 2 years here, and you ask for money. Where are you the rest of the time? Where are you talking to me? Where are you? And it's, you know, we need that all ties in at the local level.
So it's gotta be both ways, I think, Michael. I think it does have to start with management. I think it does have to start at the top, and then also has to funnel from the bottom, and there needs some organization.
I told you I was at the debate live, all right? And I'm
Yeah.
sitting here and I'm kind of working the crowd a little bit. Manny Diaz is there, our leader, the state leader of the Democratic Party, sitting there like a potato.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not good.
That-
Yeah. How does he get replaced? How did he get that job?
Terry Rizzo, okay, who had not only the Palm Beach County chairmanship, but she had the whole state, it was just too much for her.
Yeah.
It took a shellac in the last time.
Yeah.
Manny Diaz was supposed to come on board, and like you said, start that organizational chart where A,
That's
B,
right.
you know, like that. I got him to come down to talk to the Greater Boynton Democratic Club. I had him to come down, and, you know, he's gonna do this, go do that, go do this. Crickets.
So
He never
how did
came.
he fix that? What do we do? I
We-
mean, were we so powerless?
You know, I really think that we've got to get somebody who knows how to organize, not just be a good Democrat, okay? That's not enough, being good Democrats is not enough, we need organization, okay? We need organization, and what do we have to pay this individual, you know, like a CEO or something like that? Maybe that's what we
That's a
need
good
to do.
idea. A business person.
A business person,
That's
not a politician, a business person.
Hey, the other thing we
Some
need
people knows how to run a company.
is Frank Luntz. Does anyone know who Frank Luntz is?
Yes, the full,
Frank Luntz is the guy that came up with death taxes for the estate taxes. He is a Republican consultant. Just Google him, L-U-N-T-Z. He is absolutely brilliant. And we don't have anyone that comes even close to him. You know, the marketing people that we have, it's just badly done. You know, when you said play devil's advocate before, I remember when Obama was rolling out, now we can call it Obamacare because people like it. But when it was rolling out, Chuck Todd, and I always hated this. He said, well, you know, I mean, because at the beginning, people didn't, you know, people thought it was bad. It was death panels and all of this. And he was challenged, and he said, well, it's not our job to do this. And you can argue both ways. Is it the job? It's not their job to market Obamacare, and maybe Obama didn't do it well enough, but it's their job to report the truth. The fourth estate is not supposed to be taking sides, it's supposed to be reporting facts. And what were the facts on Obamacare? There weren't death panels, it was saving tens of thousands of lives every year. And if the Democrats weren't doing it, you would expect the media, for the media to say, well, that's not our job to do it. It just seems wrong to me.
I'm gonna wrap this up real quick here, but just give you some of my thoughts on what we should, these are all,
Well, you're there working, so
just and going back to getting, I, on a whole, I think the Democratic, nationwide I'm talking about, okay? They shut us off. They didn't send any money into the thing, okay? The races, you swim or sink on your own, okay? The Republicans are loaded with cash, loaded. The guy that ran against me never held an office, never ran for anything. The Republicans pumped $12,000 into this guy. I'm knocking on doors looking for contributions. This guy just gets $12,000.
Walker from Atlanta.
But my point here is that the party on the whole, okay? We've got to come united countrywide. You can't cherry pick races, like they do. And I understand, okay, why they do it. But with that being said, getting somebody who knows how to organize, a professional organizer, okay? We've got to start getting some kind of way we can generate some cash flow, into the party coffers, okay? Not to pay, to give candidates, top tier candidates. And we got to do a better job of getting candidates. We suck on any candidates.
Is it true that the Democratic Party from the National gave much less this year to Florida? Because they knew that they felt it was like throwing a step on the
How could almost 100,000 Democrats can go and vote. Why go and vote? Because I know we're going to lose. People defeat before they even leave the houses. Right? Why play a game if you already know the score?
Yeah, but I'm not sure, as I was talking to Bob on the way here, I'm not sure that cutting off the money to Florida was necessarily a bad strategy. It gave up Florida, which we probably wouldn't have taken anyway, but it may have given us Pennsylvania and Nevada and Arizona. They poured money into those.
On the money quarterback, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's great if you don't live in Florida.
Not so big for us.
Do they ever have like a big organizational meeting with 4 or 5 clubs? And people come and 3 or 4 speakers?
That's my point. That's the point I'm trying to make here tonight. You gotta talk to the greater boy, they gotta talk to me and see up there, let's get together, let's get a club, let's have representatives, like 3 people each
It
class.
should be done by county by county.
County
And
by
then organized at the state level.
Well, the county's big, so.
Yeah.
Just if you get, we used to go to the Boca Del Rey Club, that always got a huge pile of people. So they meet with us and another 2 other groups, and it's a work meeting. It's set up in groups, in tables, we have history issues, let's come up with, which are the most important, how to work on them. People know stuff, we don't have to just sit around.
And what was that saying that I said, keep doing the same thing over and over and expect the different results, that's insanity.
Definition is doing the same thing,
And you and 2 other people will come to let us know what issues really are. I'm not organizational.
Can you do one thing for me while you're in Albany? I'm sorry. There's a small thing for HOAs. Statute 720 governs HOAs and 718.
I was an HOA president for 5 years.
Okay, so
It was a harder job than being a
there's a question, I was the president last year, I will never do that again.
No thanks.
I'm treasurer now. But there is a question about the legally doing meetings by Zoom, which is not specifically in the statute. We like doing meetings by by Zoom. We get more people to a meeting by Zoom, and we don't really have the capabilities of doing a hybrid Zoom meeting, which is logistically.
And why not?
Can you please get 720 to allow us to hold meetings by Zoom? This should not be difficult, even in a Republican
No,
legislature.
and I agree, and we talked about Zoom, and I keep going back to the Greater Boys Democratic Club. They have their meetings on Zoom now, okay? The other night, they had a meeting, it was 120 people on for Zoom.
We get more
120
meetings.
people Democrats in there.
More meetings on Zoom.
Right.
You don't have to put clothes on. You don't have to get out of your house.
You eat your dinner.
Yeah, but
You
they
can eat
still
your
need to
dinner while you're... But it's not clear that we're allowed to continue holding meetings on Zoom. It's a gray area. Please, just ask them if we
I
can.
can look into that, yeah, that's, I wouldn't understand why they wouldn't let you do that.
Because the statute doesn't allow it. It's
720 doesn't allow that?
it's a gray area, because Zoom didn't exist when the statute was looked at. Meetings are in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, we get people right, you're not allowed, this guy says we can't have Zoom meetings, some attorney somewhere said, so they print it over and over again. Other attorneys say you can, including our attorney.
Well, folks, I listen, you know, I thank you for inviting me down. I'm gonna be representing this district, you know.
Yeah.
And just real quickly, you know, we have, as state rep, we have 7 bill slots. What that means is that we can, you know, file bills, okay? That we can file bills and, you know, hopefully get them heard. Now you say, well, what's a bill? Yeah, some of the craziest ideas come from people like yourself, you know? They say, hey, Rep Cassello, I got an idea, like you just said, okay? Put that on a piece of paper, we put it up, I take it to Cassie, I send it to drafting, they write it up legally, and like that, and then I file it and see if I can get some hearings on it. But my point here is that some of the best ideas that go in Tallahassee are from everyday people who sit around these tables. That's it, not from a Joe Cassello. I'm just a messenger up here.
How do we organize to get what we're talking about, to get better,
Okay,
get
so-
our ideas out and to come together? If somebody doesn't, you know, it's like, I can't start it.
No,
So it could start with me, it could start with, it could be somebody like you, maybe starting at our level.
Listen, a lot of this is on the elected officials, though. Okay? We just can't come and, you know, and preach and everything like the election time and looking for your votes and everything. We've got to do our due diligence to people's party alive. And we're not headed that direction.
What are you gonna do?
I'm out in
To
my
get us
community.
organized.
I'm out there in my community all the time, you know, I really am. Organizational skills, okay? We need like we get back to what we said, you know, somebody who's professional, who can pick captains and lieutenants to run this operation, like a business.
Coordinate, but then stepping on toes.
Instead of picking, like, right, like you're canvassing and.
I'm canvassing and,
There you go,
know,
prime example.
precinct.
Yeah, prime example.
They didn't bother to check. Char called Susie, who reports to, I guess, Jerry Rizzo. And, oh, he called us, sorry, Char. And then it happened again the following week, it wasn't Char's district. It was somebody else's. So I went down the street, and there was another precinct there 20 minutes before us. It takes a lot of effort to go out in the hot weather, even though, you know, and to go door to door, and your seniors, it's like walking, it's, you know, and we're doing it, but it's a mess.
So that's our message, people. You know the problem. I know I'm going to be doing my part. We get sworn in next week. We get sworn in, so it's all official. Like I say, our numbers are really down up there. It's going to be sad. I should say I can't wait. I can't wait to see what the agendas are going to be. What the Republicans are going to bring forward. Because they can bring anything now. Listen to them. They own the House, they own the Senate, they own the Supreme Court, and we got a Republican government.
Do you have a way to get people on an email list to reach, know what's coming up? That would be
Well, we're actually, Gloria Berman is agreed to write a.
Instead of holding
Yeah.
resign, of course,
But, you know, I mean, the problem is.
Of course.
It does come down to.
Yeah.
Candidate was talking for her. She made it out. And nobody
Yeah, but she, is there a meeting about?
Already leaving.